What is the worst movie you've ever seen? No, I'm not talking about this movie or that movie. I mean a movie so bad, so fundamentally broken, that it leaves a pit in your stomach or makes you feel frustrated and angry beyond any reasonable measure. This is a question I've been asking myself for a while, and I think it's about time to do something about it. So I've pulled up the list of the bottom 100 lowest rated movies on IMDb, and I'm going through them one by one to find the worst movie ever. Welcome to the search for the worst. God damn it, Smosh. Do you have any idea how much I was desperate to go into this video and announce that it's actually a surprisingly good movie? Well, I just can't, because Smosh the movie is one of the most lifeless, empty, and pointless films I've ever seen. Look, I have nothing against Smosh. Well, I mean, I didn't before watching this, because I'd never actually seen one of their videos before. If you didn't already know, Smosh is the combined creation of Ian Hecox and Anthony Padilla, I don't know. They mostly specialize in making pandering humor for young kids on YouTube. After watching the movie, I went on their channel and had a look at a couple of their videos. I mean, I personally didn't find them very funny, because I'm not 12 years old, but there were some well-made little skits that had some humorous elements to them. It's about what you'd expect from videos titled Gamer Gets Trolled or Killer Teddy Bear. It seems to me that they're famous for absurdist, random, and surreal comedy that works for a 5-minute YouTube video with fast pacing. But alternatively to Smosh the movie taking elements of what makes them funny/popular in the first place and translating that into a movie of the same tone, energy, and style, instead they opt for the most generic and fucking boring idea possible. It's a safe, predictable high school reunion comedy. I've been on a comedy movie kick recently. I went through the entire Edgar Wright Cornetto trilogy, The Big Lebowski. I even watched a couple of appalling Will Ferrell movies because I hate myself. Now, where something like Shaun of the Dead or The Big Lebowski excel in comedy is the way that they're actually written as movies. They have characters with believable motivation, and there's more going on than just, oh, the joke is that it's Will Ferrell being a fucking man-child. Oh, the joke is that they said a swear word. Oh, the joke is that it's someone who doesn't look like the type of person who should normally be doing this thing, and they're doing the thing. Isn't that so funny and clever? I know humor is incredibly subjective, and even if you do enjoy the odd Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler movie for what they are, on a very fundamental level you have to appreciate that the majority of modern comedy is hardly quality filmmaking. They too often boil down to a collection of random unrelated sketches, loosely connected by the most shallow and superficial plot structure possible. It's the same thing with most horror movies now too. There is so much terrible crap because, like comedy, it's easy to market, what scares you is very subjective, and you can coast off a single idea no matter how hollow the intent or idea is. So what does any of this have to do with Smitch the Movie? Well, whoever wrote this movie decided to go with the Will Ferrell comedy approach. Who needs to actually write anything with interesting arcs, a story, characters who feel like people, when it's far easier to shamble together a bunch of references and cameos from internet famous people who I guess Smosh are friends with so they agreed to be in the movie. Smitz the Move isn't even the first YouTuber movie. We had Fred the Movie in 2010. Not cool. The Shane Dawson movie in 2014, and more that I probably haven't heard of. But what do all three of these movies have in common? If you guess the fact that they're all absolute fucking dog shit, then you'd be correct. You don't need to be so harsh about it though, Jesus. And they say I'm the meanie. Please don't copyright strike me, Smosh. The real problem here is that just because you're good at entertaining idiots on the internet doesn't mean you're automatically going to be able to make a good or interesting movie. I mean, like, Fred was fucking annoying and grating in his really short YouTube videos. Who thought that that would be a good idea for a feature movie? Is it because there's a potential audience of millions of people to exploit? Huh. I wonder. It's hard for me to not settle on the mindset that these movies are only made to make a quick buck from the subject in question's immediate popularity, and that empty corporate idea translates directly into the movie. There is not one thing of note about the Smosh movie. It's nothing. It is a nothing movie. It's so utterly cynical and forgettable that it actually goes beyond being mindless, harmless entertainment. I actually find it kind of insulting to my intelligence. For some reason, the movie starts with a really awful animated segment. It's so unbelievably terrible that I have reason to believe that this must have been a last-minute addition of some kind, because how could anyone think this is even remotely acceptable? So the basic setup of this movie is bizarrely complicated in an unintentional way, I think. I mean, for people who aren't already fans of Smosh, I guess. Anthony here is like a pizza guy, and Ian sits around all day harassing women on YouTube in his parents' house. Throughout the entire thing, I was wondering, is this supposed to be like a Smosh origin story? Is it like self-aware? Or is this like a one-off tale just for the movie? The characters they're playing playing have their real names, so are they playing themselves? Is this structured for comedic purposes? I don't know. Even after the movie, I still wasn't really sure why it was framed in such a bizarre way. It's hard not to immediately notice how flat and lifeless everything is. Remember the bubbly maniacs from the videos on their channel? Well, now they're just a couple of dudes who have to spout out a bunch of really mundane dialogue that is not even remotely funny. It doesn't help that out of the two of them, Anthony is the weak link in terms of acting talent and timing. He seems unnatural and uncomfortable. Ian is actually really good though. I mean, his dialogue is thoroughly forgettable, but he's naturally super charming and funny. With the right writing and the right role, I feel like he could really shine. But not in this movie. This film is so visually bland that you could probably just listen to the audio track and get the same amount of entertainment from it. Wait, no, I've got something even better. Listen to the audio from this movie while looking at this funny meme.
Well, Mr. YouTube? Oh, no, please. Call me Steve. YouTube. Call me Steve YouTube. Okay,
now
Steve
that's
YouTube,
what I call
I need
entertainment. Like, comment, and favorite the meme. This is now a meme channel. Pretty much the whole movie is shot like one of their YouTube videos. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but it doesn't really work for a movie that has no style or character to it. The most painful aspect of all is that there's virtually no pacing. Every single scene feels overly long and commonplace. And it's only an hour and 20 minutes, but it feels twice as long. Without any sense of flow or point to anything, and with a lack of a real story, you're left sat there thinking to yourself, why is this happening? Why is Markiplier suddenly in this movie? Why is Jenna Marbles suddenly in this movie? Oh look, it's that guy from Epic Mealtime. Reference. Who needs a joke when you've got reference? When you sell your movie as a comedy, and it fails completely at being a comedy, then I have no choice but to look at it as just a plain old movie. On IMDb, it's listed as an action-adventure comedy. So if the comedy in the movie is a complete failure and falls flat, then I guess the action and adventure should take center stage and hold the whole thing together, right? Well, no. Because not only does it take about 30 minutes for there to be any action or adventure, which is over a third of the way into the movie, by the way, but the action is so poorly implemented that it's downright embarrassing. This is primarily down to how hideous the visual effects are. The monster that chases them in the Markiplier scene is the worst thing my eyes have ever bared witness to. There are better visual effects on YouTube, for God's sake. That's where Smosh is a thing. So really the biggest failure of this movie is that it's not funny at all. We predicted that we'd get at least 2 decent laughs from this, bare minimum, before going in. And at the end of it all, I honest to God didn't even laugh once. At one point, Ruben broke down and started laughing at nothing, but that doesn't count. He didn't even have his headphones on. He was just laughing at nothing.
This is so awful.
So bad, isn't it? I don't even have the energy to laugh at it. I really don't. It's so fucking not anything. It's mindless. It's fucking mindless.
For anyone, if this even makes it into it, I've taken the headphones off, I can't hear anything, I'm not laughing at a joke. I'm laughing in complete just I don't even know.
YouTube user Chip Johnson commented on the trailer for this movie saying, "This is supposed to be a joke, haters. Just because it isn't normal Hollywood, filled with narcissistic douches, doesn't mean it isn't good." Now apart from every single argument in that comment making literally no sense at all, this is what I mean about comedy getting this weird pass even if it's complete trash. Like horror movies. It's just a joke, bro. Why are you getting upset over comedy, man? It's like assaulting someone and screaming that it's just a prank. Oh wait. And besides, this comment proves something else too. You're right there, Chip. This isn't normal Hollywood. So why are they trying to make an epic adventure movie with loads of special effect heavy sequences in it? It's a contrast that could have been played for laughs under the right writer. But for example, when the poorly composited bear turns into a guy in a bad bear costume for no reason, I stopped even believing that it was supposed to be a joke, and instead thought about how this movie has no budget to pull off the things they're trying to do here. I guess the real problem is that there was clearly no vision. No one had a good idea for this movie before they made it. They just looked at the checklist of things they'd not done with the Smosh brand yet, and make a movie was on the list. So they did it. It's like this movie has no idea who its audience is either. IMDb claims that it's a 15, for 15-year-olds and up, which seems weird because Hot Fuzz is a 15 as well, and is way more crude and way more violent. Like, way more. It's also a really fucking good movie too, unlike this one. I really can't understand why they didn't make this movie completely absurdist humor like in their videos. Instead, it's so safe and muted that I can barely remember anything that happens. Kids will find it really boring, and they won't even be able to watch it because it's a 15. It's too predictable, safe, and unfunny for anyone older. So what even was the point? Oh wait, oh god. I just realized I haven't told you a single thing that happens in this movie in terms of the plot. But if you've been able to understand and assume my points are fair based off the footage in the background along with my arguments and any previous knowledge of this movie that you've had, or just the title even, just knowing the title, then it does nothing but prove my point even further for how meaningless and nothing this movie is. But I suppose I probably should tell you what happens. It will only take like 20 seconds anyway. An embarrassing video of Anthony making a fool of himself is jeopardizing his chances with getting with the girl that he likes, that he needs to impress on the high school reunion that is coming up. So they go to the YouTube headquarters to get the video taken down, but the boss of YouTube tells them that the only way to get rid of it is to go inside the video and change it like Tron. It's kind of like how in Wreck-It Ralph there's like a world for every different video game, but instead of it being video games, it's YouTube videos. So they fuck around in various YouTube videos for a while. Anthony falls out with Ian when he finds out that it was Ian who uploaded the original video who sent them on this quest. There's a monotonous chase scene with the head of YouTube who's trying to kill them now or whatever. Then, because movie, once they leave the YouTube videos and go back to the house, it's like a massive mansion now. So they've like changed time now. So I guess it's also like a time travel movie. I fucking know. So instead of being huge shallow losers in a pretty large suburban American house, now instead they're huge shallow losers with trophy wives and a massive mansion. So I guess that's okay. Then Anthony gets the girl by making a fool of himself. The end. In the credits there's like this montage of outtakes, which ironically are much funnier than anything in the movie because it's the Smosh guys actually being their normal goofy selves. So now that you know what happens in the movie, do you see what I mean? Honestly, the details are completely irrelevant. If you want the specific details of what happens, just go fucking watch the movie yourself. Although be warned, it's pretty bad. Boring. Mostly boring. Nothing about this movie screams that it should even be a movie. It seems like something they should have released for free on their channel, much like the superior, much better movie that Ashens made. Now that's a self-aware YouTube movie that's better than average. It's not like amazing or anything, but it's certainly more enjoyable than something like this. It's also completely free to watch on YouTube, so, I don't know, maybe English people are just funnier. Fuck you. I went into this with an open mind. I really did want this to be decent at the very least, or at least make me laugh once. I don't have any bias towards Smosh and their content, so I'm really just telling you as it is. And I'm telling you to never watch this movie. Because it's awful. It really is terrible. And a complete and utter waste of everyone's time. And up next in the search for the worst is... Whoa, mama. Does anyone want to save me from this fucking movie? So those are my thoughts